You're listening to The Other 50%, a herstory of Hollywood. I'm Julie Harris Walker. This is the podcast where I talk to successful women in entertainment and hear their stories. Our presenting sponsor is the end-to-end production solution, Green Slate. Whether it's start paperwork, time cards, purchase orders, or reports, everything is digital, everything is on the app, and you can work from wherever you are. Green Slate offers full service to productions, including payroll, accounting software, and people, incentives management, ACA benefits, and now background casting and payroll through a partnership with Castify. The future is actually here. And if you'd like to hear this pitch in person or see it for yourself, call me, as I am working there as the SVP of West Coast Operations. Here's my number, 310-789-2001, extension 323, or jhw@gslate.com. Now, back to my passion project. For today's episode, I spoke with Eline Mets in Canada. Eline is creating a series about women in motocross. She got tired of waiting for someone else to do it, so like a real badass woman, she is doing it herself. Originally from Estonia, Eline is a motocross champion and the first woman in Canada to jump her dirt bike into an airbag. Passionate about motorcycles and filmmaking, Eline is dedicated to telling stories of badass women. With a background in creating non-fiction content for years, Diaries of Badass Chicks is her directorial scripted series debut. She started a crowdfunding for a web series and then realized it's much bigger than that when she received videos and encouragement from women all over the world. She's going to tell us all about it. You can find us at theother50%.com for added features, photos, show notes, and the merchandise. You can also listen on Apple Podcasts and all the podcast places. And also the full season of Catch a Break, the insider's guide to getting into and navigating Hollywood, is now available on Apple Podcasts and all the podcast places, and on the website, catchabreakpodcast.com. Go check out that one too. We're working on season 2 as we speak. All right, here's my conversation with Eline Mets. Have a listen. What do you do?
Well, I am a filmmaker, and my goal is to tell badass stories about badass women that no one really talks about.
I love it. Let's talk about the project you're doing now, and then we'll kind of back up and talk about your whole career.
Mm-hmm.
So what's it called?
Diaries of Badass Chicks.
That is right to the point.
Exactly. This is the first TV series in the world about women in motocross.
Wow. Now, why did you choose to do this?
Well, this is something that it kind of found me. Because I race motocross and I am in this world, but nobody's really talking about the women. Nobody is telling their stories. And being an actor and director, I was hoping that somebody someday will write a story or a film or a TV series and cast me in it. And I was waiting and waiting until I realized that somebody was me.
Yes, I was just going to say.
Yeah. And so that was the first idea came in 2014. And in 2017, I entered the Tell a Story Hive web series pilot contest and won the funding for the pilot, shot the pilot. The pilot is based on my life. It is about me going to a race, winning third place, and finding out that there were no trophies for women. They had trophies for men up to 5th place, but women got cheap plaques.
Wait a minute. Were you competing against the men?
No, it was women's class. So there's different classes. Everybody pays the same race fees. And a lot of the times there are more women in the women's class than any other men's class.
So they had a competition for the women. They just didn't have any prizes for the women.
Yeah.
That's weird.
It turns out not that weird, because after the pilot came out, I started getting emails and messages from women from all over the world, other side of Canada and the States, saying that they've experienced similar things. Although they pay the same race fees, they have to pay for their own trophies, like on top of that, if they want trophies.
So like, we'll let you compete, but we're not really going to take it very seriously, but we'll take your money.
Yeah. So basically.
That's cool.
Not cool.
That's not cool.
Yeah. Women in masculine or male-dominated sports have always been treated as a sideshow. And I think right now is the time for us to step up and do something about it. because there are a lot of women out there who can smoke all of the guys. So
well, yeah, look at women's soccer.
Yeah. So it's time for us to get the recognition we deserve. And it's not like we're looking for special treatment, just equal treatment.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me more. You're in Canada?
Yes.
Tell me more. How did this series come about besides you thought I got to do this?
Yeah. Well, after I entered and won the funding, I saw that there is a real need for it, that people really want to participate. People want to see someone like them on the screen. Mm-hmm. They want to relate to somebody. And so I had prepared 8 episodes, and they were going to be 10-minute episodes like the pilot. So they're essentially going to be sketches of women in motocross going up against all the stereotypes and all the inequality, but also highlighting their badassness.
So was this going to be a web series?
Was going to be. Emphasis on was.
Oh, what happened?
Yeah, so many things have been happening within the past month. Well, we started a Kickstarter campaign a month ago, and yeah, just I think 5 hours ago, I canceled it because it wasn't all the enthusiasm wasn't translating into enough pledges, and the show itself had changed so much from when we pressed start the campaign. So everything just kind of transmuted into something bigger. Because for the Kickstarter pitch video, we had women from Australia, Estonia, Finland, different states in the States and Canada, send us pitch videos. They got together with a group of girls on their bikes and our banner, and they were just being badass and doing what they love to do. And they shared a piece of it with us. So it kind of grew into something worldwide. And after the Kickstarter came out, everybody was already talking about a TV series. Mm-hmm. So everybody had kind of missed the fact that we wanted to do this small web series with 10-minute episodes. And they were drilling down on the story arcs. But you can't really tell a story in 10 minutes. So this is a TV series now.
Good for you. So then how are you repackaging it to go pitch, or has someone stepped up to say, we're going to fund this as a TV series?
Well, we are in talks with a couple of distributors, seeing where this goes. Definitely repackaging it now because the decision just came 2 weeks ago, and we've been pitching it as a 10-minute web series, the whole time. And now it's just got bigger. That's what happened.
Well, that's pretty exciting. Like, what got you to make that decision? Like, did someone with enough influence and money say to you, stop what you're doing and go for it?
Well, all the reaction from the press and from people who weren't following along our journey in the beginning, they kind of, that's the thing. They didn't even think that we would go small with it. Oh,
it never occurred to them. Because yeah. I think it could also be a reality show.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be able to tell the stories that I want to tell because this is the first scripted drama of women in motocross. Because a reality show is something that the audience is not the same, and the audience is not what I want it to be. Because right now I'm seeing that there are a lot of women who start in their 30s and 40s, and we have some women here who are racing who are in their 60s, and there's no positive role models or representations of women who ride on the screen, even for young kids growing up. So this is something that we can put universal themes of inequality and just women going after their dreams. We can put them in the setting of motocross.
Yeah, I love it. I think you have really hit on something. And I gather you're getting that response from people too.
Yes. Well, that's the thing. Like the excitement has been so big and people are sending us their stories. So if possible, we're integrating some of them into our scripts as well. because most of it is actually based on real life, all the stuff that has happened.
Oh my God, it's like a crowdsourced writer's room. You just take a story out of the bag.
Yeah. And it's priceless because, you can't think of those things. You can't think those things up because it's people's lives.
Because real life is always crazier, right?
Yeah.
Do you have a story you could share with us? Something that's happened?
Well, one of those was that trophy.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many stories because it's like bits and pieces. Like, for example, when me and a friend went into a motorcycle store, and that wasn't here, that was somewhere else. And the friend was a guy. So when I addressed the clerk addressed the guy.
Of course, because he was there to buy the bike, not you.
Yeah. So these are the things, these are the small things that we can put in there and show people that this is not okay. Like we don't ride bikes because our boyfriends told us to or because we want to be cool for them. We do it for ourselves. In a scripted setting, I feel I can really convey the emotion, the freedom, and the pure feeling of being unstoppable. Mm-hmm. In a way that you can't in a reality show or a documentary. Yeah, I totally agree with you. How did you get involved in motocross in the first place? Oh, that's a story. Let's hear it. That is a story. I used to hate motorcycles, like with a passion. Mm-hmm. And so this thing is totally, if you had said to me maybe 7-8 years ago that I would be doing this, I would be laughing because, I didn't even want to sit on a motorcycle. My husband used to work on them when he was like a kid and growing up. He used to build bikes. And when we got together, he wasn't doing that anymore. And he had been asking to get a bike. And I kept saying, no, this means divorce. We're never going to get a bike. Our family is never going to have any motorcycles. And I've told this story before. This is crazy. 3rd of January, 2012 is when I was working as a segment producer in primetime news in Estonia. And I had to compile 3 videos, 3 most watched YouTube videos. And one of them was a sports video. And it was a motocross video. I had never, it was as I was looking at it for the first time. I had never seen it with these eyes, the way that it was presented by the filmmakers. And that was it. 2 weeks later, I took a class. I rode like a tiny 100cc bike. And a month after that, got my first motocross bike, big one. And 9 months after that, did my first race. And now we have 4 bikes. So you just fell in love with it from a YouTube video? Is that what you're telling me right now? Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy. And you just fell in love. Yeah. Now, did you say you were in Estonia? Yes. Estonia is below Finland. It is far from here. Yeah. Okay. Is that where you grew up? Yes. Okay. Now let's talk about the filmmaking part of it. How did you get into that career? I always wanted to be an actor and a director. Like I always saw myself making my own movies and starring in them. So I went into television and news because for some reason I thought that this is going to get me closer to filmmaking. Boy, was I wrong. There are cameras. Yes, there are cameras, but it's a totally different world. Now I'm very thankful that I did it because it gave me so much experience on how to think on my feet and how to get things done because I had to learn everything. What part of it were you doing for the news? You presenting, writing? Practically everything. I started as a reporter, as a crime news reporter, and then they axed me from it because I was a woman, and the network thought that I wasn't suitable for that show. Then I went to primetime news. I was a production assistant and did reporting, moved on to foreign news editing, produced a couple of shows. And then I went to Then I went to go after my dream, lived in London for a year, went to Moscow Art Theater for their summer program where Stanislavski taught, and came back. Then I already knew that I wanted to come to Canada. Came back, story edited and directed a show. So basically I was the showrunner for a factual TV show for 23 episodes. And I was the head for news editor at the same time as well for the primetime news and a segment producer. So I was basically had like 5 jobs at one point.
Yeah, you were in it.
Yes. And I moved to Canada to be an actor. And yeah, it took me a couple of years to realize that I can't leave my producing, directing side ever. Because nobody was really writing anything or producing anything that I really wanted to be in. So that's how Diaries of Badass Chicks came to be.
So you're like, forget this, I'm going to write my own material.
Yes. And also make an impact at the same time. Because this is not just about me anymore. This is all about all of those women who have been told that they can't do something because they're the wrong age, wrong gender, or just wrong. So no.
Yeah, we're really just not having that anymore, are we?
No.
Now,
not at all.
Tell me what you make of kind of what has happened with women in general over the last few years.
In terms of empowerment?
Yeah.
It is crazy. I love it. I love how, as I said, it's not about wanting special treatment. It's just about wanting equality. And women are the fastest growing segment in motorcycling. And I bet that any other traditionally male dominated area is seeing the rise in women as well. Because right now there's the Women Riders World Relay going on. There's a baton going around the world. And there's tens of thousands of women mobilizing and getting together and just celebrating their sisterhood and badassness. And I think right now is the perfect time for that.
Oh, it absolutely is. Did you find a big contrast between how women were treated in Estonia versus Canada?
A little bit, yes. Although we were occupied by the Soviets during the Cold War, women had traditionally been more accepted in motorcycling or motorsports because they had big races with women competing in the 40s and 50s already. But in North America, the first woman who got a professional motocross license, it happened in 1971, and it happened because there was no designation where she could put that she's a woman. So she went to a race and she was actually removed and banned from racing when they found out that she was a woman.
And she just signed up for the race and thought nothing of it?
Yeah. But she was removed. And that was in 1971. So in 1974, they created a class, and I heard that they had the same class even like 5-10 years ago, and it was called the Powder Puff class.
Of course.
Yeah. So I did find that in Europe, especially in Estonia, women are more taken seriously when they ride, and taken seriously not only by their peers, but also by the sponsors, because there are more mainstream sponsors there than here. But it's just a matter of representation and matter of education of the public, I would say. That's why a TV show would be a perfect way to show that this is one of the most physically difficult sports in the world. And women are at a disadvantage anyways because they're shorter, they don't have as much upper body strength as men, or they don't have the testosterone to keep them going, or they don't have the support from sponsors, but they're doing it anyways.
Mm-hmm. Like usual, they've had to try harder and overcome more to get there.
Yeah.
So what are the next steps for you?
Well, the next steps is to write the series now with a different goal in mind, because we had outlines and some of the scripts for the 10 minutes format. Now it has to be reconfigured, and we're going to pitch it anywhere we can to find the right fit where we can get it made.
Are you pitching in the US as well, or just Canada?
I've started to open it up to the US as well, because there were so many women from the US who contacted me. From Florida, from North Carolina, from California was hugely represented. And yeah, it's just, there's a void right now that we need to fill.
Yeah, that's so exciting to have this idea and then to have so much response all over the world. That must be really like satisfying.
It is. It is. It's also a lot of responsibility.
Mm-hmm. Because, don't mess it up.
Yeah. But also I know that I am the engine for it and I need to keep going. And there have been people who have said, oh yeah, good luck with that, because it's not easy. Like filmmaking or getting funding for it or getting anything made is not easy, but neither is motocross. So yeah, I'm going to keep on
None
going.
of it's easy. Like that's not the criteria.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not easy to make anything. Does it feel to you like it's sounding to me like this is one of those moments where you're like, oh, this is what I meant to do?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's really cool. Are you working with a production team? You keep saying we. Is there a whole team of you?
The team has been changing a little bit, but every person who has come in and every person has contributed something. So I have a couple of people that I'm getting mentoring and advice from. But mostly I'm calling the shots because this is my baby.
Yes, you are the boss lady.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to women coming up behind you, trying to do a Herculean task like this?
Never give up. I think it's about 100% about following your heart. If you feel that this is right, if you feel it in your heart that this is what you're meant to do, then the only thing that you need to do is keep going.
Yeah, that's great advice. Do you just do the next step that's right in front of you?
Yeah, because things are unfolding the way that they're supposed to unfold. And although I had an idea for the Kickstarter in my head, it just got bigger and I didn't see it at that time. But if I hadn't gone for the Kickstarter, I wouldn't have made it here. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
That's exciting. Now, you talked about being mentored. Have you had some good mentors along the way?
Yes. The first mentors were through Tell a Story Hub, who funded our pilot. And they have just found me and I have found them through motorcycling or through putting myself and putting this project out there. So gathering the golden nuggets everywhere to put this thing together.
That's great. Now, what's the best advice you have received?
Go big.
Is that the recent advice?
No, it's kind of been popping up here and there from different people. But I was told that even before I realized that it was gonna get so big, because the person who said it they said that it's gonna take you the same amount of effort and energy to do something smaller than to put that effort into doing something that's really big. So that really resonated, because if you're going for something, why not go
all the way?
All the way, yeah.
Yeah, that's great advice. Okay, so we're not going to plug your Kickstarter because you're not doing that anymore.
Nope.
Do you still want people to reach out to you? How can they find you?
We are on badasschicks.tv and on Instagram and Facebook, we're at Badass Chicks TV. You can sign up to our newsletter, and we still are collecting stories. People are sending us videos and photos about them and about their kids. And it is so exciting. And we're sharing those as well. Because,
that's so great.
Yeah, the women, they are amazing. And there's so many who are just starting out in their 30s. And that's what I love about it, because the whole time the society has told them that they're too old or they shouldn't do it. But seeing us, like that's what they've told us, seeing us has inspired them to go for this dream. And this, you can't put a price tag this is just amazing.
Yeah, well, then you can see directly how what you're doing is impacting people.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about how you see the power of media to change things.
Well, this is why we're here, aren't we? because nobody really cared about a cappella singing when Pitch Perfect came out, right?
And well, some people did.
Well, some people, yeah. But this really, like the movie brought it to mainstream, and all the a cappella groups started to pop up, and it wasn't the only one. Like all the other movies and TV shows, they got inspiration from it. So it kind of started a movement, and it highlighted a very small segment of the population. But it was different because we have seen the same stories over and over. And there are so many exciting stories out there, and nobody's telling them. So when we get it to the screens of people at home, then it's going to make a difference. Then somebody's going to see it, be inspired to go and buy a bike and feel firsthand what it feels like to ride. Because it feels almost illegal that you're not supposed to feel this good. This is, yeah.
Can you describe it? What does it feel like?
Exactly. Like you're not supposed to feel this good. Like, how is this legal? You feel free. You feel like nothing can stop you. You feel like a superhero. After being on a bike, all the worries of the world, all the worries of your day-to-day life, they seem small because you were a badass and you got on a bike and you rode. Yeah.
Well, see, I'm in the camp that you were in before you saw that video. Where I'm like, do not get on a motorcycle. You're just trying to kill yourself. So it's so interesting to hear you talk about it now with such love and enthusiasm. It's cool.
Yeah, because everybody can relate to, it doesn't have to be motorcycles for you, but everybody can relate to something that makes them feel this good. They can relate to the feeling. And when they see it represented on screen, they don't have to go buy a bike, but they can recreate that feeling for them doing something else, doing yoga or going for, I don't know, rock climbing, anything.
I mean, this is the human condition, right?
Yeah. I want to inspire people to go after their dreams because being on a bike, everything else falls away. And I want people to find that for themselves, to find that feeling and to find those moments where everything else falls away and it's just them and the universe and that they matter.
I love it. What did I not ask you about that I should have asked you?
I think you covered all the bases.
Right, well, then people should follow you and watch this journey as it unfolds.
Yes, definitely. We are on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, and our website is growing and getting better every day. Plus, we have over 1,500 people signed up to our newsletter, and that number is growing every day as well. So stay tuned, follow our journey, and find out how you can be a part of it as well.
It's wonderful. I wish you all the luck in the world and hope it becomes a major TV show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for doing this and sharing it with us.
Thank you for having me. And it's crazy. It's just a couple of hours after I canceled the Kickstarter.
And everything's changing. So keep in touch in case anything changes before I publish.
Yeah, but it will get funded. I am so sure of it because it's...
Oh, no doubt.
What I have on my wall is become so big that they cannot ignore you.
Exactly. So you're doing that already.
Well, yeah. And all the women they're just joining up and joining the movement. And at one point, we cannot be ignored anymore.
That's right. Good. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
You've been listening to The Other 50%, A Herstory of Hollywood. I'm Julie Harris-Walker. I'd like to thank Eline Mets for sharing her story. And special thanks to Jay Rowe, Danny Rosner, and Allison McQuaid for the music. Please find us on your favorite podcast provider and leave a review. And of course, on our website, theother50%.com, all spelled out, for added features, bios of our guests, and the merch. And the merch really is coffee tumblers, but they're very cool. You can also follow us on all the social media platforms and go subscribe to catchabreakpodcast.com. Thanks for listening. See you next time.